Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right
There's a situation brewing in Toronto that's going to force the Blue Jays to make a decision that could shape the next 5 years of this franchise, and honestly, I'm not sure enough people are paying attention to it. We're talking about Kevin Gausman, and before you roll your eyes thinking this is just another contract discussion, stay with me because this is way more complicated than it looks on the surface. Gausman is in the final year of that 5-year, $110 million contract he signed back in December 2021. Remember that signing? There were questions about whether Toronto was paying too much for a guy coming off one great year in San Francisco. Turns out that deal might be one of the best value contracts signed in the last 5 years. When you look at what the market's doing now, the Blue Jays have proven they're willing to spend like the big market teams. They're going toe-to-toe with the Dodgers and Mets now, throwing serious money around. But landing Gausman when they did, at that price point, looks like an absolute steal in hindsight. And now they've got to figure out what comes next. Here's where it gets interesting. Ross Atkins and the front office are dealing with immediate priorities right now, making moves for this upcoming season, but they can't afford to ignore what's coming at the end of this year. Gausman hits free agency, and suddenly there's a massive question mark in the rotation. Do they extend him? Do they let him test the market? Do they move on entirely? Let me break down what Gausman has actually accomplished in a Blue Jays uniform, because sometimes we forget just how good he's been. Over 4 seasons, he's posted a 48-41 record with a 3.48 ERA across 125 starts. That's consistency you can't just replace. He's struck out 793 batters, and he's going to cross the 800 mark this season barring injury. 3 complete games, including 2 shutouts. His 11.2 WAR with Toronto is higher than any other team he's pitched for in his entire career. But it's not just the regular season numbers. Last October, when everything was on the line, Gausman delivered a 2.95 ERA across 5 postseason starts. And when the team desperately needed him in Game 7 of the ALCS, he came out of the bullpen without hesitation. That's the kind of winning mentality you want on your roster. The franchise record books tell you everything you need to know about his impact. He's already 7th all-time in strikeouts for the Blue Jays. Think about that for a second. He's been here 4 years, and he's already 7th in franchise history. He's 16th in wins. He's been the dependable arm who goes out there every 5 days and gives the team a legitimate chance to win. That reliability is worth its weight in gold in today's game. So when his contract expires after this season, and he's 36 years old, what's the move? That's the question keeping people in the front office up at night. The argument for keeping him is pretty straightforward. He's been a 2-time All-Star with this organization, and he's been the rock of the rotation. When you look at the starting pitching under team control for 2027 and beyond, it's not exactly a long list. Dylan Cease was just signed. You've got Cody Ponce and Trey Yesavage under team control. Jose Berrios is here through 2026, but he's got an opt-out hanging over everything. If Berrios leaves and you don't bring back Gausman, you're looking at some serious holes. Gausman's making $23 million this season. What's he going to get on the open market? Probably somewhere close to that number, honestly. The way the market's paying for established starters who can give you quality innings, his value hasn't dropped just because he's getting older. Teams are desperate for reliable arms, and Gausman fits that description perfectly. The counterargument is also legitimate, though. You've got Yesavage, Johnny King, Gage Stanifer, Adam Macko, and Ricky Tiedemann all working their way through the system. These are high-level pitching prospects who are going to need major league opportunities in the next year or two. If you sign Gausman to a long-term deal, are you blocking these guys from getting the development time they need? Are you creating a bottleneck that damages the organization's future? This is where the creative problem-solving needs to happen. I don't think this is a binary choice between a long-term extension or letting him walk. There's a third option that makes a lot of sense when you really think it through. What if Toronto offers Gausman a 2-year bridge deal at around $17 million per season? I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of money for a guy who'll be 38 when the contract ends. But hear me out on why this actually solves multiple problems at once. First off, You're not making a 5-year commitment to a pitcher in his late 30s. You're keeping him around for 2 more years while your prospects continue developing. That gives King and Tiedemann and the others time to prove they're ready without rushing them to the majors before they're prepared. You're buying flexibility and time, which is incredibly valuable. Second, think about the mentorship angle. Look at what Max Scherzer's done in the later stages of his career. He's still contributing on the mound, but he's also helping develop the next generation of pitchers. Gausman could fill that exact role in Toronto. You're not just paying for his performance, you're paying for what he brings to the entire pitching staff. Third, you're protecting yourself against multiple scenarios. What if Berrios opts out? What if the prospects aren't ready as quickly as you hope? What if you need to make a playoff push and you can't rely entirely on inexperienced arms? Having Gausman locked in for 2 more years gives you insurance against all of those possibilities. $17 million a year sounds expensive for someone approaching 40, but compare it to what you'd pay on the open market if you needed to replace him mid-season. Compare it to what you'd give up in prospects to trade for a similar veteran arm. Suddenly, it doesn't look so bad. The timing on this matters more than people realize. Once the season starts, everyone's focused on the day-to-day grind of winning games. Contract negotiations get pushed to the side. Other teams start doing their homework on Gausman's performance. By the time you get to the All-Star break, if there's no extension in place, the speculation starts ramping up. And once you hit free agency, you're competing with every other team instead of having the advantage of being his current employer. There's also something to be said for organizational loyalty, even though that sounds almost quaint in modern baseball. Gausman chose Toronto. He's delivered everything they asked for and more. He's been a professional, a leader, and a key part of their success. Just letting him walk without making a genuine effort to keep him around sends a message to future free agents about how the organization values its players. This is exactly the kind of situation where you see which front offices are truly elite. Can you manage both the present and the future at the same time? Can you keep veteran talent while developing young talent? The great organizations figure out how to do both. The average ones pick one path and hope it works out. Ross Atkins has shown he's willing to be aggressive when the moment calls for it. The Dylan Cease trade proved that. The money they've spent this offseason proves that. Now he needs to show he can handle the nuanced decisions too. This isn't about making a splash signing or trading for a big name. This is about smart roster construction that positions the team for sustained success. Kevin Gausman has earned the opportunity to finish his career in Toronto if that's what he wants. He's been everything the organization hoped for when they signed him, and then some. The production speaks for itself. The leadership speaks for itself. The playoff performances speak for themselves. The question now is whether the Blue Jays recognize that value and act on it before it's too late. Because if they hesitate, if they wait too long, some other team is going to make him an offer that's hard to refuse. And Toronto's going to be left explaining to fans why they let one of the best pitchers in franchise history walk away without a real fight to keep him. A 2-year deal at $17 million per season isn't perfect, but it's smart. It keeps the rotation stable while the prospects develop. It provides mentorship for the young arms. It maintains flexibility for when Berrios makes his decision. And it shows that Toronto values what Gausman has contributed to this organization. The clock is ticking on this decision. Every day that passes without an extension is another day closer to free agency. Every start Gausman makes this season is another opportunity for other teams to evaluate what he's got left. The Blue Jays need to act, and they need to act soon, because this is one of those decisions that defines franchises for